There we go. That would help as well. I'm going to get my little pad thing here for so I can see chat. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. It's beautiful. Well, actually, it's not very beautiful today, but it's a beautiful day. Any day you get to wake up, right? But what we got in here? I got the chat set up, so looks like Fern. Wow, what's up, friend? I'm sorry, I'm not quite set up. I decided to get something to eat this morning before finishing setting up for this, but we've got some fish to clean. I thought I'd invite y'all in to see how I clean my fish and give a couple options on how to do it. Sometimes you just want the meat. Sometimes you want the meat with the skin. So I don't know if this is going to turn on because it's so dead. Could get the laptop. Oh no, it should work just fine. There it goes. It's powering up. While that's powering up, how's the audio coming through? Good, good. Ash, good morning. All right, so I'm going to set up where I'm going to put my fillets first, and that's going to be a saltwater ice bath, so that I keep the. It's going to get loud. A saltwater ice bath so that it keeps the fillets cold, but also these are saltwater fish, and if you put them in fresh water, just straight fresh water without salt, they'll become mushy. Now they're not going to be in there terribly long, so it probably wouldn't be a terrible thing, but it would desalinate it, and it changes the flavor, in my opinion, of the fish. So one of the first things I would say is make a saltwater brine for saltwater fish, and freshwater. You can do the freshwater, obviously, but that's the first thing I'm going to do there. Let me get the chat up on this thing. And I'm going to be descaling a few fish, and I'm going to be just straight filleting a few fish. I don't have anything big. Amberjack is out of season, but we did catch some bigger fish, but we'll do that later in another video. And I've actually got some videos already with it that show you how to break down some bigger fish. Who else is coming in here? Appreciate y'all joining this morning. What's up, Harvey? Good to see you, bud. Just getting set up here. I'm almost ready. Show you a couple different ideas. Man, it says send a chat code. I don't even know what this thing is doing. I might have to just go get a laptop because Messenger. All right, I'm back. That was very interesting. All right, and YouTube. Technical difficulties, right? There we go. All right. What is this? You have YouTube Premium. I don't want YouTube Premium. No. What is YouTube doing? Aha. There we go. Now I can see it. Sweet. All right, cool. Now I can see everybody. Let me get some fish. Let's do the, I think we'll do the porgies, and let's do porgies and triggers first. Show you some cool anatomy things about them, and show you some different species or subspecies, I guess. They're all same species. All right. Move that. So when you guys are cleaning fish or eating fish, do you prefer skin on or skin off? That's a good question. These fish were caught. We caught these offshore yesterday, and unfortunately, the amberjack and most of the grouper are out of season. So it is what it is. Now I've already descaled this guy, but this is known as a pink porgy. It is a pink porgy. It is a very pretty fish. See if you can see the colors there. But that is a pink porgy, and porgy are fantastic for like sandwiches. It's a very fatty fish, so it doesn't need a whole lot. It's great for ceviche. Great for, I mean, most fish is good for ceviche, but these fish, particularly the porgies, are very, very good fatty fish to do a lot of things with. But I've already descaled him, and I'm planning on frying it up with the skin on it. So much of the method that I use is very same, coming in right behind the pec fin, and I turn the fish away from me because I'm going to make an outline straight down the back. I don't go too deep. I'm just going to feel with the tip of my blade the spine, and then unzip it, as I call it. And I do at the bottom as well, just to give my blade a point of reference. I just go in right at the tail and come up right to the anal vent and go left of the anal vent and just left of the pectoral fin. So if you can see where I've made those cuts, just entries, right? Just entries, kind of outlining the fillet that I want. And now I'm just going to come in with the tip of my fillet knife and just make successively smooth, even passes all the way down to the spine. And once I get to the spine, I'll turn it over and turn down a little bit because I want to get over that ridge of the spine until I get all the way through. If it were a bigger fish, I might come from the backside, but this guy is not very big, so I'm just going to come through. Now, most fish right in the middle on the spine are going to have these pin bones, and porgy's no exception. I'm just going to feel for that first pin bone right behind the gill plate and pop it. Just push down once to pop it. And now when I'm filleting it this way, all I've got to really contend with are the ribs, and then I'm down through to my outline of the fillet. Now, the greatest, see how it just opens up like that? The great part about that is that all the guts and the blood and the bile and everything that's inside that fish stay in the fish. Yes, skin on, skin off. I like it, Harvey. Yeah. If skin is crunchy, I can't. Yeah, I can't stand mushy wings or mushy mushy skin. And I'm just going to cut through that last. And now we have the fillet with the skin on, and there are still pin bones to deal with. And I'm not going to take care of them out right now, but for this fillet, what I would do is take my pliers and pull those pin bones straight out of the center line so that when I cook it, there's no more bones. I don't like bones. Some people like the bones, like really like the bones. But I'm not so much a bone guy. So if you know what I'm saying. But there's there's that side off, pretty clean. Now I'm going to do the same to this side. And the pink porgy, and like you can see here, again, same kind of strategy, but since we don't have the roundness of the other side of this fish, it can be a little more difficult if you're not used to it. And again, kind of like bumper bowling, right? I wish they had some way to help me stay in the lines coloring when I was a kid. But anyway, just take your time and use your use the outline and just come straight down the fish. Take your time. I'm going to get to that pin bone. Push. See that little pop right there? Oops, doesn't get it. There it is. And just come down right over top these little ribs here. Now, if you do it, see now, there's one little miss there. I didn't exactly get low enough on the bottom, on the back side of that belly. So I'll save that. But I'll cut that off. Throw it in there. And there is, you can almost see through it. There is the pink porgy filleted, no mess. There we go. John SS, what's up, fella? We're just cleaning some fish here. I should have thought about where I was putting this, the head. Grab a trash can. The head, you can make stock from the heads and from the spines and the marrow that's in the spines. If this was a very, very bony fish and there may be meat left in between these vertebrae, you could take a spoon and scoop that out. It's very nutrient rich, very very, very decent meat for like ceviche and such. Okay, so you saw that guy was a pink porgy. This guy is called a grass porgy or a chocolate chip porgy. Not entirely sure which is more appropriate to call him, but he's got little spots on him. This side has a few more. He's got little spots all over him, right? So lots of good meat on these guys. I did not descaled him because I was going to show you how I do that. So let me put that there. Take these gloves off so I can move the camera. All right. So I'm going to show you how I like to take the scales off when I do it. And I'm going to do it in an unconventional way, and it's not meant for professional practice or anything. It's just kind of what I do, right? So in water, so the scales don't fly everywhere, and I use my Santoku knife, and I'm just going to start from the tail of the fish. Make sure I have a really good purchase on it, and come down. And once you get it started, it's easier to finish. So there's the bottom half. And he's a little bit bigger than the last fish, so I may need to add some more water. But essentially, going against the grain of the scales will get it done. Except for this guy wants to be difficult. So I'm going to have to cut a little bit. Let me run some water. There we go. Opening that body up a little bit works. Now just make sure you don't cut yourself if you do it this way. I ain't gonna lie, I've done it before. And it's, I don't know, it's not perfect, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier than scales flying everywhere. And like, you don't always want to scale the fish, and that's fine. But if you want the skin, I love crispy skin. I'm with you, Ash. It tastes so good. All right, so we're a little bit up there by the spine. Everything else a little bit down here by the anal. So what? So I saw someone, I think it was Harvey, saying the salmon. What are y'all's favorite fish to eat? Like, is there a favorite fish to eat, or is it just favorite way to eat fish prepared? Like, some people don't care what kind of fish it is because they just don't care. It's just, hey, it's fry it and we're good, because we live in the South, so everything has to be fried. But is there a favorite fish? Because they're definitely good tasting fish out there. This part gets difficult when the dorsal spines kind of get in the way of your angle of the knife. But this is actually working pretty well again. A lot of traditional folks I worked with said that, whenever they're cutting fish, they always cut towards themselves, and the mentality there is just so that you see what's before the blade, you control it and such. But he feels pretty smooth now. Just make sure when you let the water out, you try to save the scales from going down your pipes. if you're on like a septic or something, you don't not a particularly great idea to have those going down, I think. All right, chocolate chip done. Walleye, perch, don't eat fish if it smells like fish. Though, yeah, you're right. You're right, Mark. You're right. If the fish smells like fish, that's funny. Okay, if the fish does not have a smell, I guess we should say. I mean, fish is going to have, fish is going to be fish. But no, you're right. We'll talk about that. Yeah, good idea. I don't really need to, but I will. So, a couple of things we're looking for. Bluegill and eels for bait, huh? So, in this pile of fish, they all have nice, bright colored eyes, right? You can see the clearness. There's a little blood on that one's eyes, but like you can see the clear eyeball, and there's no cloudiness, there's no smelly, there's no discoloration. It's very very fresh. So I mean, less than 24 hours ago, these fish were all swimming about 40 miles offshore, so I know they're fresh. And they've been handled appropriately, right? So like, how soon do you have to get the fish on ice, right? Well, I mean, the easy answer is as soon as possible. But do you have to, bleed it? Well, I think for these, I call them sandwich fish. For these smaller guys, I don't think that you have to bleed them. I have not seen how it affects the meat really at all. But the bigger fish, the fish that have the big bloodline and such, yeah, I would say bleed it. And if you're not sure what I mean by bleed it, it's literally what it sounds like. Cut the fish so that it bleeds out, and there's a nice fillet, so that it does not bleed into the meat, because it will change the flavor of the meat. And the bloodline, I'll show you that on the triggerfish, because they typically have a darker meat in the belly that shows you the bloodline. But blood adds the iron taste to a fish, and that's one of the things. Like trout has a lot of iron. A lot of freshwater fish do actually, and that's the flavor and the memory that a lot of people have and they don't like, and they think that all fish have, and it's just not true. Um, but we'll get to that. I think I went too far into the ribs on that one. It's fine. It's got big old pectoral fins. I saved it. There we go. And if you're going to break a fish down, so I'm going from head to tail on a lot of my cuts. If you're going to break a fish down, and what I mean by break it down, so there's, if you can see, nothing left really on that guy. And if you're going to break a fish down, I would, oh, this has got ice on him. You're going to go from the tail to the head, opposite of the direction of the spine, so it makes a cleaner cut. So if you were going to say halve the fish, if you're going to cut the head off, break it down, get the shoulders, get the everything else, you're going to cut from tail forward, against the grain of the, or actually, no, I'm lying. It would be from the head to the tail, cutting through the spine, and it makes a cleaner cut. But I'm not doing that. So this guy, I'm not going to take the time to scale. I'm just going to do a clean fillet. So you see how it's a lot harder to get through the skin with the knife. So use a little bit bigger knife to make that rounded cut, to give an entry point for the thinner knife. Now I can go through and make my outline, but it is different. It is a little more difficult to clean it with the scales on, just because of that first point. Once you're in, you're in. It's fine. All right. So I do not cut all the way through when I'm not keeping the skin, because I'm going to fold it back and use the fish as an anchor point and just enter in and make some long strokes here. Now I'm going to show you on this some of the bloodline that I was talking about, and this very, very thin fascia, if you will, fat. There's the fillet, but on this side you can actually see what I was referring to on the bloodline, that red right down the middle. If you don't want that taste, if you don't like that that iron, if you're making sashimi and you cut through that, it adds a flavor to the fish, but it's not terribly overbearing. But because we're going to cook this as a whole fillet, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And the way I do that is literally at an angle, 45 degrees, on the edge of the red. I'm going to take a 45-degree angle down this way, and then again on this other side, and take that whole line out. What that does also, besides the bloodline, is it takes those pin bones out that I was talking about earlier, that hold the side to the fish. No problems. The doggies like it. Oh, you're locked in the office. You like fishy? You like fishy? They love fishy. Hit. Ready? Good boy. They love fish cleaning today. So I got 2 nice little fillets there. I'm gonna stab in here just to get my entry so I don't have to use that other big knife. I was just showing a possible way. So, but you may notice some people make just straight cuts. I like to make a little bit of a moon, just so that I can try and get as much of that meat as possible. A lot of folks are so much in a hurry to get done that they miss the head meat on a lot of fish. And some fish don't have a lot of head meat, but when it exists, it's best to get it. I think. Why not? Either you paid for it or you went out and earned it, which, like in this case, we earned it. But everybody ready to go out this summer? Anybody making any big trips? I don't think we are. Not only is the world just kind of not in a travel, in my opinion, not a place that I want to be traveling with my family, but unless I have to. But it's just so dang expensive now, you know? So, just us. There we go. And then we have our carcass you can see through. And we're going to take that bloodline and pin bones out. And I'm not going to give them all to the doggies. They clean the station. All right. This is a neat fish. I'll save those other ones for later. This is a triggerfish. This is a gray triggerfish. Okay, really cool fish. Gray triggerfish. And the reason why they call it a triggerfish is this big spine. Let's see if I can get it better. This big spine right here, when you catch them, that is their defense, right? So they put this huge spine up, and you can't push it down unless you push this back trigger down. So that's the trigger right there. They got some gnarly teeth, man. How'd you like to have them chompers coming at you? Smile. Now I'm going to change knives for this guy. This skin is a little bit different. Well, a lot different, actually. It is what I call a skin fish, really. It's a leathery, thick skin fish. And I got to change knives for it. So I'm going to use a little bit thicker of a knife here because their skin is so thick. But the trick is just behind this fin is a soft spot. Everywhere else is like a tank, man. This thing is so hard. And the anatomy is really interesting too. I'll show you that when I get in here. But this is your entry point here, right there. And if you don't go, see, I'm already hitting the bone there. I got to navigate around. But I'm going to go this way and I'm going to rock. If you try to saw at this thing, you're going to be going for a while. So you got to go in with the knife blade up and rotate. The difficult thing here is not to go too deep. All his internal organs are right here in this lower circle. Shush. So I'm going to make my cuts around that color change and outline it. But they are, ooh, don't stab yourself, Mike. They are a bloody fish. So make your outline. All right. Now I'm going to take the corner section of my outline here. I'm going to take the corner section of that outline and I'm going to start peeling that meat from the skin. And it literally is just using my thumb to keep the meat down and peeling back this leather. Now, all this skin, you can take a knife, sure. You can take a knife and make it nice and clean as you like. And I'm just letting the blade do the work. I'm not pushing on anything, but as I pull back for the skin, it's breaking those fibers, so that you don't. Some people don't care for that. It's fine. It's very similar to like mahi mahi and cobia and sometimes even catfish and the like. But see, there's the I'm gonna do the same down here if I want to save this meat that was by the organs cavity. I'm gonna get that meat over top of it. So I didn't pierce it, I just navigated it, right? And then I'm gonna take my fillet knife and open up the top of this fillet. And their spine is a little bit deeper. I don't know how to explain it. There's a different angle on the spine, number one, and their connective bones don't go as high. So you have an opportunity, if you're not paying attention, to go through to the other side of the fish inadvertently. I'm gonna take that big knife for that big pin bone, like I was telling you about earlier, and break those big pin bones for this fish, and I'll just continue finishing that fillet. But and I'll show you what I mean by they're a bloody fish. If you look here, oops, I don't want that intestine. There we go. All right, so that is a very nice fillet for the triggerfish. A little bit of cleanup to do there, but not much. But this is what I mean by they're a bloody fish. That bloodline is not isolated to the center, right? It's top and bottom, and you can see how there's that cavity down in the bottom with the organs. But I think we did okay getting all that out. Nothing much terrible. If you were going to use this fish in, let's see, what do I use this fish for? Well, I do actually fry this fish more often than not. If you are going to use this fish for anything than frying, I would say it's probably a great candidate for slicing very, very thin, for like not so thick of cubes, but more thin of like for ceviche, because it does have a good flavor, I think, but some folks might not. So I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut the pin bones out. In some fish, pin bones don't go the length of the fish, but in most ocean fish, it will. And then I'm gonna take some of that, scrape this lining, scrape that lining off from the cavity, and now I've got two nice pieces there. And now I got to do this side again. Find the soft spot and open them up. get to that color change, make the turn, and turn down towards that peck, towards that anal fin. Unzip upstairs, which again, just use the tip. Just the tip, Harvey. Weren't you talking about just the tip, or was it John? I don't remember. But just the tip will do. and open it up. Take that skin and give it a nice, pretty, don't need to put any kind of pressure on it. Oops, I grabbed the other knife. It's much more sharp, which is good. I just need to make sure. I'm gonna rip a little bit. There we go. There we go, good. Thanks, Ash. So we had prom here last night for the middle son, and the oldest is getting ready to move out of college. So Cha-Cha went to help him gather some things. He's still got some final classes this week, testing and such, but then he'll be back home for a little bit, and then back off into the world. So, golly, these pin bones for this fish are very thick. Maybe I can come down from here. That's the odd thing. Like, there we go. Coming up in there and turning it like that. That makes it easier. The knives that I'm using, the regular fillet knives, are just regular old. You can buy that steel at Walmart. I'm not terribly particular because you can sharpen it and it'll work. Now, I will say that the more expensive knives probably hold the edge longer. I wouldn't bother you if you did. But for Christmas, and there's the end result. For Christmas, Cha-Cha got me these Bubba knives, and I'll tell you, and I've said it in some videos also, cleaning of the fish. Did not impress. Did not impress. I had to sharpen the new set of Bubba knives that I got for Christmas. So, if that tells you anything about. Now, that being said, I did sharpen them, and I don't have any issue with them now. I very much like them, but I just thought it was something that was like, well, why do I have to sharpen the knife? Anyway, so I'm gonna get into this other little fish here. Now they came up from about 100 foot, anywhere between 80 and 100 foot. We went about 45 miles out, like I said, and they're gonna have a little bit of gas in them. And these are just kind of fish that I call sandwich fish. They're the perfect size to me for making frying them up, putting it on a. So what kind of sandwich? Okay, so fry it up and put it on a hoagie roll, or you can blacken it, right? Blacken it. I'm not terribly particular about my sandwiches. Just a po' boy will do. I don't know if you caught it there, but I went a little bit too deep into the body cavity, and I saw that there was some liquid starting to come out, so I was very careful to not continue on that path. The other thing with keeping the skin on right there is, yeah, we lost the meat, but it's not as extreme if you can not as extreme of a difference without the other side. If you can keep that skin, at least there's something over there to push back. But I'm gonna start really kind of going after it here. Kind of a high rib cage for the brim here, but nothing you can't manage, nothing terrible. Fat little butterballs, man. Hey, MT, what's up? I didn't think you'd be up this early. I'm just kidding. I don't think you sleep, to be honest. You're like, so give you an idea. Friday. So like Friday, started work I got up at 5, couldn't sleep. So I got up at 5, started work at about 6:30, and then I ran and did a errand or two, came back and worked until 4:30, 5 o'clock. Got the boat, cleaned up the boat because we have pollen down here in the south and it was everywhere. So cleaned up the boat, got done, did some family stuff until about, I don't know, 9, and about 10:30 I fell asleep, and then got up at what was it? We were on the road at 2, so I guess I got up about 1, and then we got home about 9 o'clock last night. I have not finished cleaning the boat, which it rained last night, which was very nice. Get around these rib cages. And then, yeah, so I know what it's like not to sleep, but, and I got to call Dad. I went with my dad, but I got to see how he's feeling today because I know I'm not the young spry chicken, but I know he's feeling it. I literally forgot I didn't do the other side of this. After I get done with these couple fish here, I'm going to do, I got a whole bunch of snapper to do. Maybe I'll just jump straight to the snapper and come back to these guys. I don't know. What do y'all want to see? You've already seen these fish. I feel like I want to have some background music or something. But we absolutely needed this fish. We were terribly, terribly low on the fish inventory. Actually, I think the only thing that I had left was grouper. We cooked the last of the mahi, which would have been nice to go out to get yesterday, except the weather was not going to allow it. We actually went out just in front of a weather window that it got sporty. Let's call it sporty. I don't have a big boat, so anything more than 2 foot and 2 seconds, or no, 4 seconds, anything more than 2 foot and 4 seconds is sporty for us. Now, I don't personally mind it, but I had my dad with me, so it wasn't something that I was particularly trying to put him in that position. Come on. Like, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's amazing to me. These fish are built like tanks. Spade are not terribly different, but triggerfish are just a whole nother animal to me. And the skin, I mean, I bet honestly, if you took this triggerfish skin, you could probably make the same. You could make something out of triggerfish that you could make out of cow. I mean, like, the hide is just so damn strong on these things. Bacon, eggs, hash browns, bacon, sausage. Uh-oh, putting in the order, Andy, huh? I hear you, Doug. What did I do wrong? I did not peel the skin off. It's not terribly wrong. It's just, you can go back to the traditional way or the way that I was doing with the fillet like this. It's you can do it either way, right? It's not a big deal. Any skin that you leave on, you can just peel right off. um, the only thing that makes it difficult is if the fish is a little bit old. Well, so first of all, when you catch the fish, I recommend making sure that you. Let me finish the conversation from earlier. If you get them on ice within a few hours, you'll be fine. They're not like terrestrial animals that will start the decomposition right as soon as they die. It's just not a thing in fish. It's not the same in fish. Excuse me. If you have them in water, if you have them in the water they came from, like salt water, anyways. Freshwater, probably there's an argument to be made. You don't want them to die and then put them into bacteria water, of course. But if you put them into some form of, preserve, they'll be fine. And then you can get them into the ice. They're definitely easier to clean when they're cold and their meat is firm. That is the point of really the conversation. Make sure that the meat is cold and firm. And anytime you have a choice on which direction to cut on fish, you should always go against the grain. We kind of talked about that earlier, but it makes for a better presentation, but also a better meat quality because the meat will resist falling apart, basically. Especially your real flaky fish. I'm not going to use that big knife for this. Now, they make knives specifically for cleaning fish that's flat on one side and beveled on the other, and they are beautiful. But I'm not a kitchen chef anymore, so I use what works. And maybe if I have the money and it piques my interest, I'll go get one of them. Do what? MT, do what for me? I'm sorry, I missed it. What should I have somebody do for me? I don't like having people do stuff for me unless I can do for them. Sit. Good boy. Leave it. Come here. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Take. Good boy. He's a good boy. All right, one last trigger, and then we'll go get some of the get these snappers. I did it. Okay, I saved it. I'm going to peel this one. Use your fingers to stop any real tears. Okay, pretty. I'm actually, any of y'all watch Dan and Elizabeth on the Southern Fishing Couple channel? Or Aaron Young on Key West Waterman? Or Heiko on South Florida Fishing Channel? Heck yeah. So, really been impressed with, not impressed, just, yeah, really enjoy all of their videos and all of their happenings and such. And been talking to them for years. And I really hope that Celeste and I get to go down and meet them, hang out with them, have a drink with them, hopefully fish with them, and just have a time. Actually, I mess with Heiko all the time. I tell him he's my spirit animal. he's he's just kind of funny. We share actually a common background with IT and computers and programming and such. He actually, if you don't know about Heiko, him and his brother had a company, an IT company and such, and now Heiko's down in Key West, or on the, what is that, U.S. Oversea Highway, whatever, down there, way past Joe, I think. And him and I think this is his dad, I saw on the video once. They do South Florida Fishing Company, sells lures, rigs, and all that junk. I don't know. It's really cool, folks. Like to. That's the thing about YouTube, I think, is that you get to see and learn about people that you wouldn't normally come in contact with, or B, especially have a lot in common with, but they're just strangers. Like a lot of y'all in here. I think I've probably been able to speak to some of y'all for over a year now, more than maybe 2 years. And it's just, we're like friends. We can talk now and not talk again for another 6 months, and we still have the same relationship, which is what friends should be like. Not, you haven't talked to me, you haven't mentioned me, you haven't texted me, you haven't called me, we're not friends anymore. Okay, were we ever friends in the first place, if that's how petty you are? That's not to say that you shouldn't do those things, but you know what? Anybody that's friends with me knows that we have a busy life, and I'll see you when I see you, and I won't treat you any differently unless you start talking junk about me or my family. I don't know. What do y'all think? Are you still friends if you don't talk to them after a certain period of time? And what is that period of time? Amen. Amen. That's a needy friend. That being said, if you do have friends that are needy and you love them, be kind, because everybody needs And I do mean that. Everybody needs somebody, even those who say they don't. Oh, that pan's empty. All right, I'm gonna go get the snappers. Is it too early to drink? Probably. Probably not too early to drink for some people. Oh, these are big fish. Well, big by comparison for the species, but I will have a video on us catching these. But these are vermilion snapper. Usually, and so we caught, if you're in Discord and you see a picture I posted, sometimes you win, YouTube. I made a post. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. You'll see that the sharks were out in full force, and they took home a lot of meat. But right now, the amberjack and the groupers are all out of season. But this is what I'm talking about for a vermilion snapper. Good sized fish here, beautiful meat, love it. Big clean eyes, nothing talking about any kind of illness or the such. So yeah, these are beautiful fish. When they come out of the water, they're all lit up, and they are just fantastic. Table fare. I do like, you know what? This guy's big enough. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna move y'all, but I'm gonna go ahead and descale him. I want this skin. But they are all lit up. They're all yellow and red and just so pretty. There are a lot of snapper species, I think, that are underrated. And you always hear about the American red snapper, and that's partially because of the drama around their federal closure. And they're just starting to open it up now, which South Carolina is open, I think, pretty much all year round in state waters, but there's still the size limitation on the fish. So you're not going to catch, and I don't know, if you have a hole, let me know, but you're likely not going to catch a large enough American red snapper so close to shore. It does happen. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Obviously, they have fins. They can go where they want. But federal waters, there's been a moratorium on red snappers for a long time. And the Gulf has been having seasons more regularly, I guess. Down there like Gulf Shores where we go fishing, down by Beach Bum. I don't know if you know Beach Bum Outdoors, Brad, or any of those guys, Brant, down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. My best friend, or actually probably should call him just a brother at this point, but he lives down there in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and we go fishing out of there for the American red snapper season, which is a lot of fun. We go out of Perdido Pass, or we go out of a couple other places, but it's beautiful fishing down there. It's just the pressure is insane to me, because not a lot of folks fish off South Carolina. So South Carolina's coast, to give you an idea, 47 miles offshore. You would expect, okay, that's probably deep water, but it's only 100 foot. It's 100 feet deep. It's only 100 feet deep. It does not get deep in most places off South Carolina. I'd say about 60 miles is a good number. You can find some exceptions, right? But you're not getting very deep. This side of the fish is being very aggravating. I'm gonna be a little more aggressive with it, but I'm gonna go slow so I don't cut myself. But I want this, and I don't want to make a mess, so I'm just gonna get these scales off. But like when we go trolling for mahi or marlin or tuna, but you can get albacore about 40 miles. And we have gotten, when later in the summer when the water is really mixing and coming in near shore, you don't have to go that far. But this time of year, the water was 69 degrees in most places. It did get to 70 and in just a few spots we went to. But all right, that's pretty. So there he is without his dress. Yeah, the water temperature was 69 all over. Take some of these off because I know I'm going to have that piece. And I mean, honestly, a couple scales aren't going to hurt you. They eat just as well. I just don't want a full scale platter. Yeah. Ooh, you know what would be good? Take this, fry it up, and serve it over like some Italian dish. So let me give you a Italian dish. How to fry this up? Like over. What would you put this fish over? You fried it up. How would you do it? Curious. Would you use risotto? Would you use noodles? Like pescado? There we go. Beautiful. And I've got to go back and take those pin bones out before I do anything else with it. Yeah, she saw the kitchen on the houseboat. Excuse me, the food boat. Jesus, did I just do that? I'm sorry. Celeste said it looked like a houseboat, and I just said it. I'm so sorry. It's not a houseboat, and we're not allowed to, we're not gonna say it's a houseboat. It's the food boat, y'all. Jesus, I'm sorry. If you're in here, Derek, my fault. I did not mean to do that. I don't think Derek's in here though. Be our secret. But I liked the kitchen that was on the food boat the first time. I can't wait to see what the new one is. All right, she's done. Just 9 more to go. The limit on these guys, I'm not going to scale this one. The limit on these is 5 per person, and they have to be 12 inches. So we did keep some 12-inch fish. We threw some 12-inch back. We threw some 13 inches back. But we just made our limit and had a good time. Oh, you said the clip? That's cool. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you, buddy. Knew I can count on you. Clipped it. Need a shirt. Need a shirt. Clipped it. This fillet is almost frozen. It's so cold, which is nice because it's easier to work with. Well, that's just a pretty fillet, and it just tastes fantastic. Again, I'm just taking out the pin bones and the, well, this one actually had a rib bone as well. If you have to cut rib bones out of meat, it's the opposite direction of your pressure. You should go in under the rib bone and push up on the rib bone so that you're only cutting the meat that's attaching the bone and not down. Some folks will kind of treat it the same as every other part of the fish, and you'll lose meat that way. Now, when you're talking, well, whether a little matters to you or a lot matters to you, size does matter, right, Michelle? I don't know. Never too late. Never too late. How's Joe doing? I saw a little bit of his live last night, Michelle. I mean, not live, Michelle. I need to catch up with him. Been kind of busy. I'm not fancy and cool enough to have two phones, so I can be live on one and answer a call or something on the other. Those are the big time guys. That's awesome. I love to hear it. Michelle is funny, but not like in a bad way, you know. You know something I haven't been thinking about because I'm not doing this at the water right now. When you are cleaning the fish, okay, and you got your skeleton and such, put the backside of your knife in the middle of the spine and break it. Popping that spine when you throw it in the water, here, break it. Popping that spine will let those gases escape so that when you throw it in the water, it doesn't float. Some people clean fish and they don't do that, and there's not any kind of predators or fish around to take care of it for you right away. It begins to float and stink, and then you attract all kinds of other issues. So I'm going to go ahead and drain this water over here because I'm not going to keep any more of those. It's full of scales though. Good. Bill just like, what the fuck? Oh man. Pilch is a great dog, but if you're not careful, he likes to give love nibbles. Just nibbles. I've never seen him bite. Well, except that one time But it was Alfred, so you know, it was okay. It was a love nibble too. It was pretty fun. Man, have y'all did y'all watch Andy's work from all the way up there in Maryland, taking the boat up there? It's pretty impressive stuff, dude. Like going out on your home water takes enough work. Freaking doing it in a whole nother state while a disaster recovery is in man. I'm here to tell you that man does a lot for his viewers. So much love there. It's really awesome. You know what? I'm just going to move along here and not take the pin bones out right now. That can be something that's done after it's, because the fewer cuts you make on a fish, the better meat will be when you prepare it. I firmly believe. Like you can make as many cuts as you want if you're preparing it to serve, but if you're just gonna, like, I'm gonna vacuum seal all this. I'm just gonna preserve it the way it is. Well, not all of it. I'm gonna eat some of it, but it'll make my life a little easier just going through and cleaning these up, but also and I'm doing a couple different cuts like this one. I'm going to include a lot of this belly meat, little fatter fish, and I'll feel that out sometimes when I'm cleaning them. He's got a nice amount of little fat right there, so maybe it's a she and she was getting ready to fill up with roe. I don't know, which actually their mating is about to happen right now. Is amberjack's mating. So thank you for the likes. We got 5. I'm good at it. Thanks, Michelle. What exactly am I good at? I'm good at a lot of things, babe. I'm good at just the tip, right? Is that what you're saying? Uh-oh. I hear Cooper coming back for more. Amy never left my side. She's down here looking for fish. They love sushi. Blue Gabe? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Blue Gabe and Robert Arrington, his family, his mom, Dear Mom. If you follow on Insta, she's Dear Mom. Boy, they've had a rough go of it. Freaking Robert went down to well, I don't know. Go watch their channels. There's a lot of overcoming. I think they had to get rid of the farm. That was didn't have to. I guess they decided to. I don't know what the whole detail was, but good Christians, good people. God love them. Appreciative of life and all that God gives us in the outdoors. Appreciative of friends and family, and really good channel. Blue Gabe, good friends with Joe VT. Actually fish with a lot of the same guys and friends from Jacksonville, Florida. So when my dad needed his liver transplant, we went to the Mayo Clinic down in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's actually where Joe VT is from. So we have a lot of the same folks that we know. Actually, if you're looking for some great line, great tackle to try out, check out. Oh God, it's blue. It's got a trident. So the picture that I posted, Offshore Outlaws. That was the brand Bo was working on. Bo is another fishing friend from Jacksonville. He is working with Seaworks and distributing it. I mean, it's his company. I think he's part owner and such. But I use Seaworks. I wear the Offshore Outlaw, stuff. Joe VT wears the Offshore Outlaw stuff sometimes. I don't know if they're still making it, But I'm gonna tell you, I love the hat. I love the shirts. Some of the best stuff. But anyways, yeah, big fishing community. Everybody's connected to everybody somehow, right? So, caught my biggest cobia with Bo on the Mayport. Was that the Majesty or the Prince? It was a Majesty. The Majesty out of Jacksonville. Well, I guess I should say Mayport. This is the Mayport Princess and the Majesty. That was the Mayport Princess that I was on. Anyways, we used to go fishing on that. It's a headboat. You should definitely go check it out. I don't think that's it's maybe the same people anymore there because life goes on. Maybe Sam's still fishing on there. I don't know. Maybe Sam got kicked off. His daughter was working it. I don't know what happened. All kinds of stories, all kinds of interconnecting storylines. And of course, Kelly with Blue Gabe. I don't think they're together anymore, but they may be back together. It's kind of like a drama. I don't know. Not my business. So maybe I've already said too much. I'm gonna get some hate DMs. No, I don't think those folks have any kind of hate in them, to be honest. They're really, really good people. Now, you want somebody who can fillet a fish really fast? Them boys on headboats don't play. I get the luxury of taking time in my house doing this. They got people who are like, man, I gotta go, I gotta drive, whatever, and they're trying to fillet these fish. They cut right through the ribs, and you're done. And I get the luxury of just doing it how I want to here, so that's why I'm going so slow comparatively. And if you like it, if you think that I'm doing a decent job, hit that like button for me, please, and share the platform. We're wanting to grow a little more and do a little more content and just kind of get everything in order. We're almost where we need to be to get that started and done. So this knife's getting a little bit more dull, so I'm going to switch it out for that other one. The other one may be a little too dull at the moment as well, so I'll have to sharpen it. We may just be done with the stream unless y'all just want to see how I sharpen my knife, which is not terribly a long process because I use the it's not Ken Onion. It's not the Ken Onion system, but it's kind of like the Cabela's knockoff. It's a belt sander, I call it, but it uses the belts for sharpening, and so that's how I sharpen my knives now. Super easy. Yeah, you can do it on steel, and you can have all that stuff lying around, or you can just have a machine with belts that you can change. It's much more economic, much more better inside the kitchen. Looks like somebody defecated in this group. I'm gonna wash it off. Not that it's not inside the fish. I just want to make sure it doesn't get inside the fish. And something else I do, actually, I will not end it early because I actually am going to show you how I prepare the meat to be vacuum sealed. And there's a very important step in that. So the first key to all this is making sure that the water that you're putting the saltwater fish into is salt water. So it does not make the meat mushy and does not desalinate it. The other thing is that when we are going to vacuum seal it, we're going to dry the meat. I guess I don't have to show you now that I've told you, but but we will. Man, it's cold. It's good. Makes it easier to deal with, I promise. What do you think about the man? Dude, He's lucky that people heard about it and know his name. Because there have been in. I'm not trying to look how nice it is. I'm not trying to start any beef with anybody, but there have been instances that the Augusta National found out about before the rest of the news media, and it never got out, or not the real story got out. There's a live in a small town kind of thing. There are, and I'm not speaking to any of that. I'm just going to let y'all know that there are people that have been dealt with. If you think the mafia or the mob has ways of dealing with people, who you think runs the mafia and the mob? I'm just going to stop there because I may get a knock at the door. Yeah. What do I think about it? Well, I think it's terrible. I think it's disgusting. I think it's a breach of trust. Like, one of the biggest parts of the South, I think, that goes hand in hand with courtesy is unspoken loyalty, unspoken devotion, loyalty, whatever you want to call it, honor. Let's call it honor. Okay, your honor. That's theft. I don't have any place in my friends list, organization, whatever, for a thief. On that kind of scale. I don't know. Maybe it's terrible. Oh, yeah, defecated. That's a word. I'm not gonna be like, man, this fish shit all over the other fish. That's not appetizing at all. Words matter, right? Y'all think words matter? Like, for instance, I heard a story about people planning for disasters. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Do you plan a disaster? No. You have a disaster plan. Are you planning for a disaster? No. You're preparing for a disaster by making a plan. I don't know. Maybe it's the way I think, but words matter. That's just doesn't make sense to me how people don't see it that way. Do y'all see it that way? Am I weird? Like, do I make sense at least? So it's like, oh, well, I see what you're saying, kind of thing. Like, or am I just off? This guy had a little bit of weird structure in there. No fear. Yeah, there's a difference in between having respect and having fear, right? Like, fear. This actually comes from when Celeste and I were giving regular classes on firearms. Fear most of the time comes from what? A traumatic experience or a lack of knowledge. If you have a lack of knowledge, your instinct, and it was, we evolved this way, your instinct is to be afraid because you need to preserve yourself. If you are educated and you actually know what you're freaking talking about, not Joe Biden or all the Democrats talking about adding pistol braces and changing the caliber and makes it more deadly. No what? Anyways, I know this is not the channel that really goes there, but yeah, I have my own personal. Hell, I can do whatever I want. It's my channel. I am an armor, trained by a couple of companies, and was in the firearm industry for quite a number of years and learned a lot from people who were in the industry for many more years before and probably after. A gun is no different. Well, obviously a gun is different than a lot of other tools, but you can kill just as many people with this knife as you can with the gun. Now the gun does make it easier, right? It's a more efficient way, but you shouldn't be afraid of the gun. Be afraid of the people who get their hands on the gun. That's my point. Sorry, I'll stop. You're right, Michelle. I don't know what you said, but you're right, Michelle. Hey, is Tia here? Tia Teresa? Is she out? She's still recovering from carnival, from festival. Oh, I'm sorry, MT. Yeah, having people in our lives is a blessing. I just say that, and just like Alex has taught me, and I've really begun to employ. And even people I work with now laugh at because they kind of, I think they're kind of starting to get it too. Everything is make believe except the real stuff, y'all. Everything is make believe except the real stuff. You can make a law, but that doesn't make it real. That's I mean, laws, rules parents have in their house, they're all just make believe anyways. We choose to follow them, right? Why do we do it? Well, they come from experience and reason, but sure there's reasons for them, but they're not real. It's like the universe is not going to stop you from doing it. So everything's make believe except the real stuff. We choose to follow our systems of government. We choose to follow our systems of finance, but it's not real. If you have $1 and I have a fish, eat your dollar. I think that's part of the mentality of like the sovereign citizens. Like they understand that. But I mean, I'm not about to put myself out there like that. Some of them folks are for real, for real. I'm not saying the system's bad. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm not just going to be a freaking rogue maverick. Play old in the way. Old in the way. Old. Oh, you have Tia. Hey, what's up? Been gone to Fiestas. No. Old in the way. Oh, Maverick. Van Halen. Okay. Alexa, play Van Halen, Alone in the Way. No, is that what you said? Old in the Way. Old in the Way. Alexa, play Old in the Way. Old in the Way breakdown and similar songs on Amazon Music. Amazon Music is streaming on another device. Would you like to stream from here instead? Yes.